Hello there and welcome to International Differences in Entrepreneurs, where we continue our exploration into asking who are the entrepreneurs in our course on international entrepreneurship. Now, our learning outcomes for this part of the topic, we're going to take two at the same time. So by the end of this session, you will be able to understand some international differences in the profile of business founders, and secondly, you will also have an understanding of the key capabilities which have been linked to successful entrepreneurship and business ownership. For this session, we're going to be comparing Russia and China on the entrepreneurial traits and behaviours of entrepreneurs between the two countries. So let's take a mini case studies, first of all from Russia. Yulia Barabasheva. She's 25 and she's a reluctant entrepreneur. She never wanted to have her own beauty salon, so she never set out to be an entrepreneur. But she had a dream, and she had a dream of securing a steadier income and starting a family. So she opened her own salon in Moscow in April 2007. Now she and her staff of 14 take clients of up to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, giving them thinner eyebrows or longer nails and all the other things that beauty salons do. To start her business, her husband was quite heavily involved. He was a businessman and he was able to get $180,000 in startup loans and completed this 6-month-long slog through Russia's fairly formidable bureaucracy to obtain a license. Starting a business in Russia is pretty hard when it comes to bureaucracy. So Yulia was born to teenage parents on the outskirts of Moscow, and in her own apartment by 16, she passed high school. She just showed up for the exams, and she worked in construction and a liquor factory before turning to nail design. Then after some years working for other people in another salon, she finally left to find her own studio. Compare Yulia's experience, her characteristics and background to another entrepreneur. This time we go over to China. In particular, we focus on somebody called Feng Yung. Feng Yung is the CEO of Aigo, which is one of China's fastest growing electronics firms. In terms of his educational background, he's very different to Yulia. He studied civil engineering at university and then got a master's degree in business administration. Feng worked for a government construction company before he quit to start Aigo in a cramped apartment to sell keyboards to China's infant computer industry. In his biography, Feng Yung was dubbed as 5 Yen Feng for his willingness in his lean years to slash the profit margin on a keyboard or computer housing to just 5 yen. Aigo really took off in the mid-1990s when it started making portable computer memory devices. Since then, Aigo has expanded its range of products sold in its very distinctive orange and white packaging to include digital cameras, MP3s, portable media players, and even a digital microscope. In its 1,700-member workforce, it includes 700 people just working in product development. Revenue is growing at 60 to 70% a year, with 80% of the profits ploughed back into research. BDA China Limited, which is a Beijing research firm, has recently said that Aigo's 2006 revenue was 6 billion yen, which equates to around about $290 million. Okay, so question time. Press pause and I want you to consider the two following questions. First of all, are there any similarities between the two cases? And secondly, what do the differences possibly imply as problems for research in trying to find this magic formula for what an entrepreneur is? Press pause and then you can move on. So we've seen a couple of case studies, but what does the research have to say about Russia and China entrepreneurs? I'm going to look at a piece of research by Yankov et al. In 2006. They compared groups of Russian and Chinese entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs. Now, a couple of definitions and mechanics. First of all, they define entrepreneurs as an owner-manager of a business with 5 or more employees. They define non-entrepreneurs as individuals who are not working for their own business. The sample was random and consisted of 400 entrepreneurs in each country, and then a survey of non-entrepreneurs matched by age, gender, and educational attainment. Over the next couple of slides, you're going to be seeing quite a lot of statistics. You can press pause to look at those in more depth. I'm just going to be picking out a few at random here. Now, the key to reading these tables are the stars that you can see under the diff column for each of Russia and China. For those of you with no statistical knowledge, it's okay, don't worry. You just need to know that the more stars, the stronger the significance between the two groups of entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs in each of Russia and China samples. So, for example, we can see there's a strong difference in the good health of Russian entrepreneurs compared to Russian non-entrepreneurs. If you go halfway down the table there, yeah, got it, to good health, okay? Now in Russia, entrepreneurs have a score of 0.12, so they consider themselves to be more healthy than Russian non-entrepreneurs with their score of 0.07. This relationship is pretty much the same in China. Entrepreneurs see themselves as healthy, more so than non-entrepreneurs, in China I'm talking about. But we can be more certain there's a higher degree of significance of this difference in Russia, as indicated by the 3 stars there, compared to the Chinese comparison, which only generates 1 star. You can see a similar relationship in the religious behaviour statistics there, right down at the bottom almost. So here we have some statistics on greed and family, on values, and some probate regressions. Again, you can click pause at any point if you're interested in looking at these in more depth. But let's draw some key conclusions of this research overall. There were characteristics of entrepreneurs that were common to both Russia and Chinese samples. So in both Russia and China, the probability of being an entrepreneur was related to, first of all, family members being also entrepreneurs, friends who are also entrepreneurs, their height, risk-loving, and greed. However, only relevant in the Chinese sample of entrepreneurs was it relevant that their mother had a higher education. And only in Russia was it relevant that their father was in the Communist Party, the mother was a boss or director, education, and the city environment was favourable. So I think it's time for a question now. So press pause and reflect on the following 2 questions. So first of all, what does this comparison tell us about traits and behaviours in determining entrepreneurship? And secondly, what does it tell us about the capabilities that you might need to have as an entrepreneur?